Nothing will take me from 0 to pissed right the fuck off faster than bowling. I went over to visit him, and he was sitting on the couch in his pajamas holding an M16. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? And he's like, well, I heard I knew you were coming over. I wanted to show you my new gun. I was like, Dad, I talked to you like 2 hours ago.
Oh my God, this guy's so old, he's not gonna fight me. But I was just like, oh my God, I want to fucking kick this guy. But like, I don't want to get my shit taken away. My dad's in that church. I still have a fucking open wound in my anus. So.
So I'm gonna hit. Okay, we're going live. You ready?
I am ready.
Long walk, short drink. First live broadcast in 3, 2, 1.
Hey, it says
here
live.
we go.
Dig us.
Hey, look at us. We're broadcasting live. Let's see. So I'm gonna refresh the Twitter and see if it says. So I'm gonna write one just real quick.
Sure. And so for the podcast later, or I guess anyone seeing this somehow live on spur of the moment will know. But for those in audio land, we always communicate, Palmer and I, through these Google Hangouts, and then record our audio separately, and ultimately post the episodes to YouTube with a static image, just because it's a kind of an RSS feed of sorts where people can listen to the show. But Palmer got the bright idea to utilize technology, and you can live stream from YouTube your Google Hangout. So that's what we mean by live. And hopefully that will then result in the YouTube posting, also including our video feed, which is something we've never done before.
It's out there.
Hello world.
Hello world. 0 viewers. We are live. I love it.
It tells you the number.
Did you notice this on my Did you notice this on my microphone?
I noticed that on your microphone, but I didn't want to say anything.
Yeah,
in the tech talk we were doing,
because we're broadcasting live, man. We got to put that logo out there. Like, people got to know that.
Yeah, point right at that bitch. I'm gonna screen grab it for.
Check that out.
Yeah. I tweeted something I've always meant to show you. I have a notebook that I have that same thing on, and that's where I keep a lot of my sad handwritten book notes for the. I'm actually on my second notebook. I have 2 of them. I don't know if I have them both out here, but both bear the long walk, short drink.
Oh man, that's tits right there.
Yeah. Look at us.
I like that.
Coming up in the world.
Look at us.
Fucking also, we're turning 21 this episode. So
we are 21. We're legal.
Yeah, speaking of which.
I already have one opened.
That's all right. I'll open it for both of us.
All right.
Great.
Very cool.
Well, what has been happening in your world, sir?
Nothing. Welcome to our first. What's been happening in my world is long walk, short drink.
Yeah, I was gonna say, really, I can understand why you would say that on the podcast, but ultimately, a lot has been happening for the podcast.
Yeah, we are currently broadcasting our first live broadcast. Yes, there are 0 viewers right now, but that's okay.
I'm gonna cut that out. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't cut that out. That's okay, because it's a historic moment. We know it's live, and that is huge. And I just know it's a matter of time. We got tweets out there. People out there know that this is happening, so it's just a matter of time before we end up.
Before the world comes to us.
So, yeah, we're broadcasting live. This is.
Yeah, we're broadcasting and podcasting. Or live streaming. Is that broadcasting? Sure,
whatever. Yeah. But no, to get back to your question, long walk, short drink really has been on the forefront of my mind really for the last week or so. There's been a lot of developments on all fronts. We are currently, this is the inaugural episode, not only of our first live broadcast recording session, but also but also the first time that we're using our new recording log that we can really use to track a lot of information, and it's going to make things awesome.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about how our family grew a little bit, or do we want to kind of keep that on the DL for the time being, and just let that kind of let that kind of.
I said let's talk about all these little growths. I mean, there's a bunch of things that happen. So the first one you mentioned is this. The first one is that we're suddenly live and recording video for everyone to see, and also for posterity in the YouTube channel. But also, then secondly, Palmer's created this sort of beautiful spreadsheet that is a word that doesn't begin to describe the kind of cool living document that it is, and the way that it'll help us kind of collaborate, and I think would be something that others would find useful. Maybe someday we should do a little walkthrough of it if we ever do get around to doing like behind the scenes type stuff. So it's something like you can't see. It's not accessible to the public, but it's a very useful document to us. But maybe you can tell us one of the reasons why such a collaborative document would be necessary. It's our family is expanding.
Well, I mean, it's really, oh my gosh, this is so cool. So I turned on cameraman, and now it will switch depending on who's talking.
We're living in the goddamn future.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to do anything. It just does that automatically.
Wow, I would not have a job if my last job anyway would not exist.
I'm going to turn down for what? All right, so say something, Dave. Let's make sure that's still going.
Yeah, making sure the cameraman is switching.
It switches back. Yeah,
I'll take a little picture of this historic moment.
Oh man, this is so cool.
What were we saying? Expanding family.
You had asked like expanding family, and what is the need for this document? So the first thing we really we talked about was, beside the live feed, was this recording log, and I realized first there's been a couple things, and I'm sure it's been evident I feel like it's been evident in the past episodes, is like, Dave took on pretty much the entire burden of tracking the show and keeping it on track and getting things done. And then that organically very early on, and then that organically grew into Moto joining us and really working and making that really awesome. And really, I said recently in a couple recent episodes that it was the show that I always wanted. That episode it was like episode 18, and I was listening to it, and it was like, this is so perfect. It's got just the right amount of like extra stuff added, and the right amount of like great conversation. It was really awesome, and it. Even in the like total amateur naivete, starry-eyed take that I have with this, because this is still so cool to me to know that I do this. It's so fun. And even this little bit that I know that what was happening was taking a ton of work. And I always have been looking recently for ways that we could share that work. And so I reached out to Dave, and I have been talking about it a little bit, a couple episodes, and I reached out to Moto to find out what information he would like, what would be useful to him to track. And it kind of evolved into this recording log that we can try to update while we're recording live, but then also go back in and work on it up to the release of the episode, even after the release of the episode, where we're just kind of all the extra stuff that you guys hear when you listen to the show, the tweets that you see going out, etc. All of that stuff would ultimately be derived from this document. And in that conversation led to talk about the Twitter, and feeling like we were getting to such a really solid place with where the episode was sounding, but the Twitter was starting to become a burden to it, you know, everything is a balance, right? Would you say that, Dave? Like that's what it feels like. And it's like, you know, I can put my hours in on this side and make the edit sound really good, or I can put the hours in on this side and make the tweets really good. And, you know, Dave was trying to had initiated that transition of, you know, you send out your tweets, I'll send out my tweets. And we tried that and that was working okay. And then it kind of didn't work. And, I was thinking, how can you help in this situation? And it's like, you know, I can definitely start doing my part, which, you know, putting together the share document for the recording log and all that stuff. That's one way I could use my, you know, the skills that I have. But then also just identifying good traits, good skills in other people, and then collaborating with those people. So I know we've mentioned him a few times on the episodes, but I asked my friend Double D to kind of take over the wheel on the Twitter account. And in my words, I told him when I offered him, when I asked him if he would be offered, Jesus, it's a fucking job. It's not a job. This is all for fun, right? So, but asked him, you know, if he would consider doing this. I said, I want the Twitter to reach the same level that I feel like the shows have hit recently, where this level of quality, and it's just impossible for any one person to do that by themselves. But we definitely need somebody to take over the majority of it, and I really feel that Double D was a good choice for that. And for anybody that has watched our Twitter account all during the week of episode 20, I'm sure you will agree it was a wise choice to ask him to join us. So Double D's been doing a bang up job right now, and just a lot of growth and a lot of awesome things going on. The book club is moving forward. The next week's episode, the next episode that you hear, episode 22, is when you're going to get your first assignment for the Dead Zone book club. So make sure you're getting your copy of the Dead Zone one way or another. We are now able to extend to you an opportunity. Dave, you took care of this one, so please take it away. If you want to
I just want to hold up my copy of the Dead Zone.
Look, check this out. I got mine too.
Yes. Oh, see. Wait, here, hold it. So I still gotta get the screen grabs. Yeah. But now we got I was gonna say 24 screen grabs a second, but I don't know what the frame rate of this thing is. But in any event, yeah. So the Dead Zone. The other the development is we got approved for a sponsorship with Audible.
Which is so awesome, man! It's so great. Listen to us. We have a sponsorship there, and so what does that entail, Dave? What does that mean for our listeners?
That is a great question. That means that listeners can use our code. So you would go to audibletrial.com/LWSD. And from there, excuse me, I'm sure Audible will love our first read.
Yeah.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook and download a 30-day free trial at audible.com/LWSD.
Enter promo code LWSD.
Yeah. Well, it's actually it's a /2. So it's audibletrial.com/LWSD.
Okay, sorry. So see, I already screwed it up.
Well, it's a new thing. We haven't actually, done this yet.
That's true.
But hopefully by the time folks are hearing this, it is I would say if you're seeing it live, it's uncertain. If you're hearing it on the podcast, it's something you can go do right now.
So you get a 30-day free trial. You also get a free download for a book. And what book might we want to recommend? Well, the book I would suggest would be
Dead Zone. Oh, get it. for free.
Read by James fucking Franco.
Yes.
I mean, how awesome is that? Like,
yes, sir.
So that's what you should get, and then you download that. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, you should use
it.
You should. Yeah,
that's what
I bought it. Like I bought it from iTunes, like a jackass. I can't remember how much I spent, but I purchased it.
I might check into that. I don't know. But if not, I'm going to do the Audibles thing, and I'm going to use the Long Walk Short Drink like promo code to get it for free.
Yes, sir.
So listen to it that way. So I'm going to. I listened to the original audiobook version that I have. I've finished that. I'm also going to go through. I'm also going to go through it in the hard text that I ordered. That's what I'm going to use to take my notes from.
1979. So that's the audio version you heard. I don't know. Was it? Do you think it's that old?
It was probably in the 80s or 90s. I mean, he's very cyclical. Where they kind of like will pull stuff. It's kind of like the Disney Vault. Like they pull stuff out and do these like revival things or like new editions of stuff or whatever. One thing or another. Like I'm sure they might have done an audio version of the book when the television show, because it was popular for like a season or two, you know. They could have re-released anything that had the Dead Zone, anything to do with the Dead Zone, you know, audiobooks. New paperback editions with new cover art, etc. You know, stuff like that. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them. So
no, but yeah, there's a brand new one just came out April 25th or something with
read
Mr.
by
Franco.
James Franco. That's going to be. I'm so looking forward to that. So I'm going to use the Long Walk Short Drink promo code. You guys should do it too. LW or the backslash. Geez, that's twice now.
Oh yeah, it's audibletrial.com/LWSD.
Thank you. Yeah, so check that out and. Get your free copy of The Dead Zone so that you can join us for the book club. Also, awesome is I have gone through and I've broken the book up. I know how we're going to split it up and what we're going to read. So I can talk about that now. But to assist me in guiding you through each week, each reading assignment, I ran across a site that has over 6,000 study guides available book on their website, bookrags.com, that has everything you need to study and ace your lit classes. All you need to do is enter the promo code podcast to get 15% off your subscription. So head over there to bookrags.com, enter promo code podcast to get 15% off your subscription. I'm going to be using their lesson plans and study guides for the Dead Zone to guide our book club. So you're going to see the results of their product firsthand. So definitely check them out as well, which is just awesome. I mean, how great is that? 2 sponsorships for this book club.
We've had a big goddamn week.
I know it's
podcast.
We have a staff now. We're a staff of 4 that makes this happen for you guys.
For us, yeah. I mean, I am the number 1 fan of the show. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I look forward to every week, and now I'm thinking I'm probably going to end up listening to it twice each week, where I'll listen to that rough mix down probably, so I can work on any additions to the recording log. And then I'll listen once it goes live for all the final edits that Moto and the polishing that you and he does.
Those are fun. Like I edited the last one. I think he and I might switch off and and I. But you know, he puts a lot of time, and he puts a ton of time, honestly, into just making the quality of our voices sound better than they have any right to sound. But then on top of that, he goes through and does all these extra sort of editorial things that are so wonderful. So I like to give him feedback on that because I know how long it takes. And so yeah, I've heard this. I heard 20 a lot, and man, I really. That's one of those where it's every bit as I guess they all are. They're as fun to listen to as they were to have the conversation, and that one was a really satisfying one for me to hear. That would be like among those that I would use to introduce certain people to the show, just because we had all our bits, but we were also just shooting the shit, and or the Shinola, as it were.
Yeah.
It was a fun one. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's the gift that keeps on giving, this show.
Hey, and I love it. I mean, I look forward to recording it. I look forward to listening to it. Now that let's not all start sucking each other's dicks just yet.
I'm so glad I'm not the only one to think that.
Yeah.
I think that a lot, but that's not like, you can't just throw that around and mix company.
No.
So
no, not at all.
Like,
oh, you call the wolf? Shit.
Oh my God. There's the story I'll have to get permission to tell that involves the wolf in a real life situation that I would love to share with folks, but I gotta get some clearance first. So we'll see. Remind me of that, because it's a doozy. and incidentally, last night we were on a group text with Double D, and Spaceballs came up.
Yeah.
I think he asked us, like, hey, when are you gonna do your Mel Brooks show? And so we got into Spaceballs, and I couldn't keep up with you. And at a certain point, I think I had to do something else and checked out of the conversation. But there were 2 times in a row that the quotes that you sent or a meme that you found were literally what sprung into my head at that exact moment. Like, why didn't somebody tell me my ass is so big?
Really?
What was one of the other ones? So many of them. We just kept going for a good little while. That shows we're gonna have to talk about that movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, so a lot's been happening for our little podcast, and so we appreciate everyone out there who's listening. And if you're hearing this, that means you. And of course, we appreciate our comrades and Moto and Double D and Twinkie and Mr. J and Shamrock and all those who've added to the conversation here on mic. But of course, everyone who's chiming in on the Twitter as well. And now our 2 new goddamn sponsors.
And 2 fucking sponsors. Like, how cool is that?
I know.
Yeah, man, just so awesome.
Well, what else has been happening? Or is this, I know there's some weeks where what is happening is the show. Has that been the case for you?
No. So I'm trying to think. So this week I have had mandatory training for half a day every day. So I've been, and it's like very early in the morning. So I have to go in there.
That means you got to be there physically with your hour and a half commute.
Yeah. So I go in and do that for half a day. So this weekend we're heading to Pittsburgh. Got first communion for our niece, and to meet our new nephew who was just born yesterday.
Oh,
this baby!
Congratulations! Wow.
Oh, thanks. This our nephew. He's gonna play basketball and then pro wrestle in the off season. The
one that just was born.
Yeah. He was like 22 inches long, almost 23 inches long.
That's what she
10
said.
pounds 3 ounces. Like, that was a big baby.
I don't have a good perspective on it, but that.
I mean, his baby looks like a toddler with a floppy neck. Like, that's what it looks like.
Whoa. What? Oh, I was gonna ask names, but I guess we shouldn't do that.
No. So we're gonna meet them. Other than that, like, nothing really. Just we had to buy Ash a new car.
Oh my God! Yeah.
So
that's coming back to me, but yeah, fill us in.
So Ash drove a Prius, was the car that she drove. She bought it right after we started dating. And it was a very old Prius. It was 12 years old. It was a 2005. And recently we had issues with it. Lights had started to come on top of the issues. And ultimately we started to find out that the batteries were going out, like the hybrid batteries were going out. Which those are very expensive. It's about $3,000 to $5,000 to replace those.
Ooh.
Unless you get refurbed ones, which you totally can. I would have been totally okay buying the refurb ones, but we just ended up. I was like, babe, we're not going to get anything out of your car. It's 12 years old. We might as well just get the equity we can out of it. So, we went up. We ended up getting her this really awesome Nissan Sentra Midnight Edition. It's like black on black. It's like the paint job is black, and it's got these awesome black alloy wheels that look awesome. So
Jacko and I, Jacko had a t-shirt, a Crow t-shirt back in the day that was listed. That was a black logo on a black t-shirt, and he had it and he liked it. But we always joked about the listing in the catalog as being they listed it as ultra hip black on black.
Oh man, that's so
midnight
cool,
midnight sounds cooler. Yeah.
Yeah. So that happened. Other than that, really nothing. How about you? Anything big?
Well, yeah. So I had a surgery. It was not a major surgery, but it had a major impact on me for sure. And so I'm willing to talk about it, but it's gross. So I
sent a video of my sperm out last week.
Well,
I feel like
this is grosser.
Yeah, no. I mean, can we say the B word?
Yeah,
it involves butt stuff. Right?
Yes, it involves butt stuff.
Butt stuff.
Hashtag butt stuff.
Hashtag butt stuff.
Yeah, so I was going to let you lead, like, if you had any just questions and curiosities, knowing a little bit off mic, and then, like, I just don't want to be like, and then this happened, and this happened, because, like, I don't really want to be known for this procedure, and I also just don't want to gross people out.
No.
But I'm not, you shared so much on this podcast about deaths in the family and the whole 30 and all that. I don't want to be like I'm not talking about my butt stuff.
But you also should not use that as like, oh, I need to talk about my butt stuff because
I definitely don't
Palmer
need to.
talked about his dad dying.
Right,
like that's like apples and oranges, man. Like,
I suppose.
Let's just keep those as two separate things, and you do whatever you're comfortable with. How about that?
I'm comfortable saying, that I had surgery on my butt. It sucked. But I hope that it will, that things will be better going forward. It was the 20th, and we're talking on the 3rd here. So it's been almost 2 weeks, and I think they said it was like a 6-week healing process. Fuck yeah, it's gross. I mean, the thing is, like, it's a surgery on an orifice that you have to use.
Yeah.
And so the healing process is hard. Yeah. And so are the processes for which you need to use that area of your body.
Yeah, I think that's a totally appropriate level of sharing.
Yeah.
Right there.
That's been the majority of my time.
Well, you're sitting up. You look like you're comfortable. It doesn't look like you're ready to.
Yeah.
That you need to stand up or anything. So that's cool.
Yeah. Butt hurts, but I can sit on it. That's what she said.
Hey-o.
But I should leave those out, right? So we can include the audio clip rather than me saying it.
Oh, no, but I think you should say it, and then it'll be funny when it comes in like, that's what she said.
We'll see if Michael Scott can beat me to it.
That's what she said.
No. So, I mean, that's the big thing. One reason I thought it might be helpful to talk about is if it were of comfort to other people, because I'd never heard anyone talk about this surgery before, but I also can't really speak to the benefits of it just yet. I still have a fucking open wound in my anus. So man. That's not going to be one of the opening clips. Maybe it will be. Oh, we did it. It hurt to laugh.
Hashtag wounded anus.
Yeah, wounded anus. That it hurt to laugh for a while, but that's getting better. I'm noticing. Yeah. It's
that's good. So we have 2 sponsors, and the first thing we talk about is your wounded anus.
Yeah.
Butt stuff.
Wounded anus. But amongst all that, so maybe I'll talk about it more when I be like, this was life transformative or whatever. So because I was having lots of trouble in my whole pelvic region that ultimately they were telling me was kind of coming down to some stuff that they could fix surgically that would hopefully help certain, like the prostate things and other discomforts I was having. I mean, the last 6 months I've been very consistently uncomfortable and have to waste sometimes I'll have to just take 45 minutes out of my night where I already have almost no time after I get home from my drive and work and stuff, just to sit in a tub, just to help alleviate the pain of fucking I don't know what, these various maladies and stuff. So I'm hoping this surgery will fix that. I still got a stitched up butt piece, but hopefully it'll dissolve.
I'm sure it'll be one of those things where it's like, all of this struggle will pay off, and you'll be like me, and I'm so glad I did that, which is what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, so. And it's not the kind of thing like I saw the surgeon several times before making the appointment. The whole thing was a very long process, and it's not something they want you to enter into lightly because of the recovery process is hard. I found out that it was something that my paternal grandfather had as well, had to have surgery for as well, and so it runs. Oh, wow. So I think it's a combination of just like genetics and some stress and stuff like that. But I did. We had concert tickets or comedy tickets to see Mark Maron last Saturday.
Oh yeah.
I love his podcast WTF, which I only discovered in the last couple of years. I think with the President Obama episode I checked in on and have not checked out since. And I really get a lot out of that show, and I appreciate that guy's way of doing things. And so he was coming through on a stand-up tour, but it happened to be Minneapolis was the taping for his Netflix special. So we got to go to that.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was really great. The bride and I went, and was at the.
So you're going to be on Netflix, dude? That's spectacular.
Yeah. No, we were back too far, but there were a lot of opportunities because they need to fill those like front
Hey, were you
seats.
in that audience?
Oh, sure, yeah.
That audience?
I do know when I clapped and when I didn't. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're going to be on Netflix, right. Man. That's pretty awesome.
That's right. That's my buddy. My buddy Yost, who plays drums in my band, when we're able to, he's a grip. He works mostly in New York, but around like he's part of a freelance crew that gets hired. And he worked on Nick Offerman's Netflix special. I can't remember what it's called.
Awesome. Yeah.
But this is what happens. Like people are wanting to get drinks and stuff, but they got to start on time, and they usually tape 2 shows like kind of back to back so that they can mix and match. For the editing purposes. And so him and a bunch of the other crew members for that one got stuck right down front because like for whatever reason, they just needed bodies because people were, out having drinks and stuff. So it was interesting to see how that worked, like how the people got shuffled around a lot to make sure that the seats were filled for the taping. And WTF is cool in that, I've thought about doing this for our show, but it's worked out differently, and I'm glad we do it the way we do it. But he tapes interviews always with some pretty famous people, like I mentioned, President Obama.
Right.
And then what he also does is has bits at the beginning. He's got sponsor stuff, and then he rolls in the opening, and then he just kind of catches people up on what's going on in his own life. He'll say like what's happening with his cats or something that might be bothering him otherwise, an encounter or something he's had that's of note or amusing. And then they'll roll in the interview, and then he'll come back at the end and be like, wasn't that great? And he'll play a little guitar, and that's that. So it was very neat on Monday to hear like him talk about the special. And I was like, I was there, like he was talking about something that I also experienced. He was talking about, he got very emotional. I couldn't tell from where we were sitting. He's like, I don't know if we'll use the first or second taping. They did like a 7:00 and maybe a 10:00. He said, because I came out and I was just overwhelmed, and I spent the first 30 seconds trying not to cry.
Oh, wow.
So he's like, that really kind of threw off my how I intended to start things. So I don't know if there'll be much of my the one that we saw or not, but that was my first outing, after the surgery, and it was probably just well enough to like get through it. And that was another thing too, because they were like, this is being taped, so do not get up. But it was it was short. It was like 70 minutes, I think, was what it was down to. So I knew I could do it. But the bride was like watching people get up, to get drinks and stuff. And she was like, you pieces of shit. You don't know what my husband has been through. So.
Oh, yeah. So. She's a very big mama bear.
Yes, sir. She is.
Which is so funny because she gives you so much shit, but nobody else can give you shit. Like that's even like true. The slightest shit. Like,
yeah. I mean, she'll teasing. She likes teasing, but if it's something serious, then boy, the scissor hands come out and she'll cut a bitch.
Yep, in a second. And you don't want to get cut.
You don't want to be on that end of it. Yeah. But yeah, so that's been and so I've been home recovering as well. And just went back to work in person the first time yesterday and stuff, but
and that went fine.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. And there's some stuff, you know, because the surgery is what it is. Like there are certain, things that aren't as easy or as tidy as would be nice, but it's okay.
Yeah.
But pun always included. But I got to
listen, Dave, I'm behind you. Okay. Like,
I'll tell you one of my favorite things about, I don't have any favorite things about this. There's a handful of things, and there are people and interactions with certain medical professionals. But when I saw the first consult for a surgeon, it wasn't the specialist, but he was hilarious and had a great bedside manner. And he was just like, one of the first things he did is sat down. He's like, don't worry. He kind of hits me in the leg. He's like, we'll get to the bottom of this.
Oh man! And I think you're gonna start with the pun. That's the way to do it.
He had another good one too. I can't remember. And then the guy that put like the thing in your hand for the IV. Everybody there, like at the hospital. I've never had a surgery before other than wisdom teeth, and that whole procedure was very interesting. How they kind of move you through these various stages, and several people from nurses or whatever will ask you what you're doing, and I'm like, oh. I'm having a hemorrhoidectomy, and they're like, boop. It just shuts them right the fuck up. Because oh my God, what do you say to that? But then, so the guy, I guess, I don't know what you call him, if he's the phlebotomist or whatever, but he took in that information. He's trying to think of some small talk, I guess. And he's like, I guess all the pain in the ass jokes have been used up, right? I was like, nah, man, go ahead. I need all the jokes I can get right now.
Oh, that's so awesome.
So I've been home recovering from that. And my like secret hope was that I was going to be just well enough to really like work on my own projects. I did edit the show, and that was really nice to have that time to do that. I was able to kind of half lay down and do that. But I've also got to get back to this documentary that I've been working on that I'll talk more about at a later date when it's something that other people can see. But it's, the short of it is it's based around the last album and tour I made with my brother and Yost, who I mentioned. So we did an interview with someone who knew our previous efforts and kind of hit us with such insight that it was a much more moving and comprehensive experience of an interview than any of us were prepared for. And so that when I thought I was going to make some short promotional clip, has grown into this sort of feature length thing that has a lot more to do with just one record than anything else. But it's been hard to find time for that. So I've gotten back to that a little bit, which has been really gratifying. And then of course the support from you and Moto and Double D has also made that kind of possible. So it's been a mixed bag of, butt wounds and comedy shows and personal projects that I've gotten to return to.
Oh yeah.
But
that's all. Well, yeah, it's a mixed bag, right? That's life, right? That's a mixed bag. That's awesome, man. Huh. So, man, I'm just still on like cloud nine that we have sponsors.
Like I know. Some of that's new. Like this, the one about the study guides. That's like an hour old. That news.
Yeah, we got But well, if only I had a supercomputer that fit in the palm of my hand.
I think I have screen grabs from when you were rejoicing.
7:03. So
yes,
that was 2 hours ago.
That's great.
7:00.
Yeah.
So yeah, I man, it's just so cool.
What's your well, as long as we're talking about medical stuff, let's get off butt stuff and get on to lung stuff.
We're gonna talk about some smoking stats.
Yeah,
here.
how's that going for you?
So I've been a non-smoker for 303 days. uh, 11 hours and 57 minutes. I've not smoked 5,159 cigarettes. Like, that just grosses me out. 5,000 cigarettes.
That's like the 15th sequel to 200 Cigarettes, and it's got like Affleck and Christina Ricci in it. That's a crazy number.
Yeah. I've saved $1,547. And I've gained back 20 days, 18 hours, 44 minutes, and 59 seconds on my life.
Nice. Good man.
But I did, like, a total transparency, again, for the sake of sharing. I told Ash I'm probably going to be going. I'm going to go back to a meeting, I think.
Oh, I didn't know they had meetings for smoking. I guess that makes. Oh, you did tell me about.
Yeah, that's how I did
early on. Yeah,
how I did did it originally. Is there was a group that you go to, and they give you the lozenges and the patches for free. Right. Which, if anybody's listening, so all the big tobacco settlements that happened in the late '90s and early 2000s, is that I don't even know around what time that was, but part of that settlement was they had to pay buku money that goes towards, so the Be the Generation That Ends Smoking campaign, the truth, the hashtag truth campaign, the one where like everybody with the stomas are talking and about what they did with, and it's all because of smoking, why that happened. These groups, if you're in Ohio and listening to this, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, I think, is the Ohio's number, where they will, all of that settlement, a large portion of that money was set aside to pay for all of those services. So all those ads get paid for with this money. The group that I went through, the patches that I used, the lozenges that I used, all get paid for with this money. So you should definitely take advantage of it. If you're if you're anything like me, which I'm just going to tell you right now, anytime you've said to yourself, I have to be the only smoker that thinks like this, you're lying. There's, again, always at least 100 people who have the same idea, right? So, and with smoking, I'm guaranteeing you it's going to be more. So just seriously, if you're a smoker that just hates every cigarette that you smoke, but you just do it because you have to, that was me. And you can quit, and you should take advantage of these services. So
they call that number, and then from that number, you find out where the meetings are.
They will, because the group that I was in, the group leader even said, if you get to 2 months from now and you get the urge and you don't have any patches or lozenges, excuse me, jeez. I was up really late working on that spreadsheet, so now I'm like droopy.
I know that feeling. It's kind of good though, right? Like you're tired, but you're like, I fucking did this thing.
Yeah, and it's amazing. Like, I'm using it right now, and it's like it looks spectacular. I'm going through.
Yeah, you called it. So you call the number. They hook you up with how to get.
Oh yeah, and they'll send you patches or lozenges for free, like in the mail. They take your address and they send you the stuff. They'll counsel you over the phone. Even they'll do basically the group that I did in person. You can do that through that 1-800-QUIT-NOW number.
Nice.
So, it's really, seriously, if you're in Ohio at least, and I'm pretty sure that part of the settlement was this money was supposed to be divided up across each state. So, your state should have some services that can help you quit, and don't feel ashamed that you need help doing that. If you could, I'm going to tell you right now, if you're listening to this and you're a smoker, there's probably at least a time in your life where you've wanted to quit. So if you could have done it, you would have then. So now try it with a little bit of intervention and see if that helps. And see what kind of progress you get.
That's great advice. But you feel the need to go back to a meeting because it's been a little more difficult recently?
I just really have had cravings That's, to say the least. Like, that's just what it is. I mean, not enough that I've smoked, but enough that it's worried me. So I, just for ease of mind, like they said at the meeting, when I did go through the meetings, they called it like a nicotine reset. So whenever you start to feel bad, you just, the next, time the meeting happens, you just show up and you just sit through the meeting. I'm pretty sure that's the same with any support group. All doors are always open. So, yeah.
Well, that's good. Or do you find that certain things kind of trigger the hankerings, like certain activities, or is it more of
no, it's just, I like pumping gas. Yeah. I guess that's
I remember
a good
that
one
from an earlier episode. But they're just, I just wondered if there was something that made it suddenly harder than it has been. Cause we've been talking for a while, and that's the first time you talked about going back to the, to the meetings.
Yeah. It is the first time that I have thought about that. And, it was just, again, it was one of those things that I told Ash. I was like, I just want to do this just so I can be cautious about it. So
yeah, good man.
Yeah,
I think I know that's something as we pick up more listeners, like that's. I think it's really that's one of the things that made me willing to. You've been open about this process as well. You've been open about a lot of things, such that I felt compelled to talk about my butt stuff.
Nice.
because I do think, like, if you hear it, if it resonates with you, it helps you feel like not alone in these problems.
Oh, absolutely.
But so that's problems. What about pleasures?
Palmer's pleasure right now. Well, can I save my pleasure for the King Corner? Can we?
Hey man, this is your podcast, my podcast. We are the grown-ups, and
we do whatever the fuck we want,
right?
Right. All right. So I would like to hold off on my on my Palmer's pleasure right now, but I would be more than happy to hear your Dave Diggs.
Oh yeah, this has been the Dave Diggs thing. I made an effort recently to keep it to one, like, because I remember you asking in an earlier episode, like, is it okay if I have more than one Palmer's pick? And I was like, of course, you're the adult, you can do whatever you want.
Right.
Our shows are so long and stuff. I thought, let's make it just one per time. But so I've had a few, and then they're kind of stockpiling, so it's like they're a little bit further in the past sometimes. But this is I'm not sure how many in a row have been podcasts, which is such a kind of bad idea. Like, go listen to the other podcast. But what are you going to do? I listen to our podcast, other podcasts, and all of these podcasts I'm recommending. So if I have the time in the car or whatever, or in the bathtub while I'm trying to relieve my pelvic pain, then certainly someone else must. So I have another podcast, my Dave's Digs for this week.
Now, get ready. We're going to play some rock and roll. It's alive. It's alive.
I have been expecting that.
Is a bad guy. Can we go, please?
No, I'm enjoying it.
What are you? I'm Batman.
Who's a grumpy bastard? Yeah, I'm a grumpy bastard.
What's going on?
Why don't you tell me a story?
What do you mean?
This isn't punk. I don't need you.
Don't think. Feel.
Talk hard.
Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Are you ready?
All right. So my Dave's Digs for this week is a podcast called S-Town. Have you heard of this?
I have. That sounds familiar, but
yeah,
go on.
It's from the same people who produced Serial and This American Life. So do you remember, did you listen to Serial, the podcast?
Mm-mm.
I don't think I can do a great job of summarizing it, but it was basically, I think, This American Life story that grew into its own miniseries podcast, where there was a kid who was arrested in high school in the late 90s I think 1999, as most things have happened
Yeah.
on this show. I think he was arrested then for the murder of his girlfriend. And he was always believed by certain members of the community to be innocent. And this one lawyer, I think, approached, I hope I'm not getting this too wrong, but approached This American Life or a producer there to help them kind of shed some light on what they felt to be this wrongful imprisonment. And then the podcast is that reporter kind of investigating the case, and it became this cultural phenomenon, and it was very compelling. I'm not sure why they called it Serial because it was a weekly podcast where sort of things would develop in this story, but it wasn't like news, it wasn't this just in, like they would craft the story based on the investigations they were doing. They would talk to people. They would talk to the guy imprisoned, Adnan Syed, I think is his name. Anyway, a lot has come from that, like offshoot podcasts, things like actually movements, legal and otherwise, like to help that guy's cause. Anyway, so they did a follow-up to Serial that was a similar approach about a different topic that didn't resonate much with me. But like Serial, the bride and I locked into a big bad way and listened to like on trips back to Ohio for Christmas and stuff. So when we heard about this S-Town from the producers of This American Life and Serial, we're like, I heard it described as a combination of Making of a Murderer. What's the Netflix series? Do you know what I'm talking about? Not How to Get Away with Murder.
No, I know what one you're talking about.
I think it's Making a Murderer.
I think it's what it is. I'll check my supercomputer. And
awesome. Yeah. Thank you. I heard it. Yeah, that's our dynamic. Like Palmer has the supercomputer in his pocket, and I have a notebook in my lap and just conjecture.
That was actually my Dick's nickname in college, supercomputer in my pocket. Like, that's what it was. Well, supercomputer, and then I would be like, and it fits in my pocket.
Is that a supercomputer in your pocket? Or
reach right in there.
What was I say about? Oh, so I heard it described as a combination of How to Make a Murderer with Twin Peaks. And I was like, ooh.
Really?
Yeah. It's like, that's very fucking interesting.
And Lynch. David Lynch.
Oh, God. Yeah. That's coming up. And I've seen that. So a little bit of coverage on that. Oh, Jesus. I might actually get Showtime just to watch this without having to wait the Twin Peaks. Not reboot, but the resuming of the story.
Making a Murderer is the
Making a Murderer. And now having listened to S-Town, which is, I think it's a closed series. So like Serial, they were still working on it as they were publishing it. So it was, you didn't know, like, are you going to find out what happens? Like, is there going to be a conclusion to this whole thing with what they're investigating? You didn't know. Like, it was just kind of ongoing. At a certain point, they kind of stopped it. But S-Town is a closed series of, I think, 6 or 7 episodes. They were all launched at once, kind of Netflix style, as a podcast, and they call them chapters. And so I think the bride tried it, and then she's like, I think you would like this. And she started to tell me about it, and I listened and really did like it. So I don't want to get too much into what it is because ultimately it's a mystery. I think that description is pretty good. I'll read the short description that they have on their website, which we'll tweet out, because you can find it on Stitcher, you can find it on iTunes, all of those things.
Sure.
So, S-Town. So that's actually, let me do the about. Fuck it. This is how they have it on their homepage. So it says, John despises his Alabama town and decides to do something about it. He asks a reporter to investigate the son of a wealthy family who's allegedly been bragging that he got away with murder. But then someone else ends up dead, sparking a nasty feud, a hunt for hidden treasure, and an unearthing of the mysteries of one man's life. which is more than I knew about it going in. And I can imagine, like, if I'm going to recommend it, I should say something about it. So I think that's probably enough. It's, oh man, it's you know, it's one of those things that gives you a lot of different emotions. Like you don't quite know always how to feel about people. They do unfold the story in a deliberate way where, like, maybe one, like Lost or something.
I mean, is
like
it dramatized and fabricated, or is this a real case? This is a real case.
Well, yeah. So basically, this guy, he reached out to This American Life, this John B. McLemore, and he's like, so this I didn't know either, but I'll share, because what the hell? S-Town stands for shit town. And so he says, like, I live in this shit town and all of this corruption is going on here. And he keeps kind of asking them to come down and investigate. And he gets in this long-term kind of email back and forth with one of their producers. And eventually that guy goes down there, and he does start to, I think it started as a This American Life, like, short subject and grew into this larger thing. But man, it's
that really sounds like The Wild and Wonderful Whites of West Virginia.
Oh, what's that? I've never heard of that.
Well, I don't want to cut you off. I'll let you finish, and then I'll talk about that. But
no, go ahead. I mean, I don't have a lot of else that wouldn't be spoilery. So,
it is this. It's this documentary that was on Netflix. It might still be on there. Where same deal. This guy does this little small piece on this one man down in West Virginia. And in that time that he spends with him, he realizes that he is one character in a very large ensemble cast of a family. And ultimately, later on in his career, he gets wrapped up with Johnny Knoxville. And
the bride loves John. I'm pretty sure the bride would leave me for Johnny Knoxville.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
don't tell him that.
And Tremaine and ends up in the Jackass guys. Well, he ends up getting Dick House, their production company,
best production company name of all time,
gets their production company to produce a full feature documentary on this family down in West Virginia, which are the Whites. That is their last name.
So it's the Wild Whites of West Virginia? Is that right?
It's the Wild and Wonderful Whites of West Virginia.
Okay.
And it's basically like 3 to 4 generations of people who I don't want to misrepresent it. It's just a great documentary, but that reminded me of that, where it started as a really small piece, because they even talk about that in the documentary, how he shot this one little small thing, and it intrigued him so much that 10 years later in his career, he comes back to West Virginia to shoot a feature length on this family, on this one family. And it is fascinating, like extremely fascinating.
I'm into it. And if Johnny Knoxville's into it, it, I think I can get the bride to watch.
He is not in it, though. That I mean, it is definitely in its own project. So, but yeah, I would highly recommend it.
Awesome.
But this S-Town really sounds interesting. I like the fact that it's a real case, or it's a real event, but presented in a way that's a mystery. Like, that's very interesting.
It unfolds, and it's not like, without spoiling too much. I mean, they spoil more kind of in that synopsis than anything. Like, it's not so much about this one case. It's really about this town and about this man, and how. Man, there's so many mysteries in it, and it really that is a great comparison. Whoever made that connection between Making of a Murder and Twin Peaks, it is that. It's got like the kind of charm and darkness and mystery of Twin Peaks with the real life kind of court case drama. And did he, didn't he, or something of the Making of a Murder. Yeah, and Family Ties, not Family Ties, the show, but it was it made me think, made me laugh, made me cry. Like it, I couldn't tell you another podcast. The Serial didn't make me cry, but this did a couple times. I was like, and I was like really caught off guard by it. And it's nice that, podcasts, sometimes it's a lot to recommend. I know I've been recommending a lot of podcasts, and for the most part, they've been single episodes at least. This one is like 6 or 7, and they're about an hour long or 45 minutes. So it's not a huge time commitment, but it's easily as enjoyable as like a show you'd binge on Netflix or something. So it's it's been out for a little while now, so it's not like it's not like I'm breaking news here, but I do think folks would do well, and their lives would be enriched to check out Shit Town. I can't tell you how fun it is just to hear him say Shit Town in the opening. Like, it's like one of those. I don't listen to This American Life. This sounds terrible. You know how I can be just like terrible about certain things, like hipsters and stuff. Like I just can't have it, and so I can't with Ira Glass or like just that sound of their voice and like I don't know. All right, here, wait, I'll do my best. I don't even listen, but I'll do my best of like what's so irritating about it. But despite that kind of irritation, I love this so much. Like, John despises his Alabama town and has to do something about it. He asks a reporter to investigate. You know what I mean? Like that. This kind of like New York radio. It's a kind of an affect that is mostly like I'm sure Ira Glass talks like that, but everyone else just learned to talk like Ira Glass. So anyway, at first I'm hearing about some of the like things that are bad in the town. I'm just like, ugh, always with this like murder and the sexual violence. Like, fuck this. I don't need this. And this goddamn guy talking like this. But I was very quickly. I feel about most things when I start.
I don't need any of this shit. Fuck all of it.
Yeah. And so, but I was within the first episode, I was hooked. Awesome. I can't even remember why. So I definitely, I heartily recommend that for folks who've got a little drive time or whatever. It's a mystery. It's a kind of study of one man. It's a study of a town the kind of town. It's not, man, it's a little Rittman-esque the way that this town is described, honestly. More the Rittman now than the one we grew up in, if that makes sense. Like the one where there's bars on the windows of Main Street and more gun shops and stuff. And a heroin problem. But, I mean, I'm sure there are good things going on in Rittman, but those kind of... anyway, I think maybe I related on that kind of small town thing as well. But I'm definitely still digging it, even though I finished it weeks ago and have other Dave's Digs in the hopper. That's the one I'm calling out today.
The hopper.
Yeah. Hopper. I just watched some kind of Boston thing. I can't think what it was. Oh, we tried to watch Affleck's movie By Night or something, Live by Night. I don't know. We literally couldn't, between me having to run to the bathroom and stuff for my surgeries and false starts. I think it's called Live by Night, that Ben Affleck directed last year that came out on video. We actually didn't get past like 20 minutes and just returned it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it might be better than I gave it credit for, but it's no Argo.
Yeah. Not at all.
Anyhow. You were saving your pleasure for something. Did you want me to do the shit the bride says as well? Was it tied to? Oh, it's tied to the King Corner. How about we talk about my new segment? Let's put my new segment. Oh yeah, this is the. Ooh.
And then we'll do a shit the bride says, and then we'll do a King Corner, and then we'll call it a show. How's
I like
that?
It. Yes.
And then it'll be a nice, short, tight episode. I mean, not a 3-hour epic long one. So.
For this new segment, I'm gonna turn on the lightsabers.
Oh,
folks can't see me as well, but that's my Star Wars lamp. You can see on Twitter. Okay, new segment. Okay. So did you say like it has a theme song or something?
I'm going to put an intro together, which we'll roll in right now.
Learning from the internet. Ever wish you knew how to do something? Bored with your current station in life and want to change directions? Ever wonder how the hell to learn a new hobby? Then get off your ass and grab that supercomputer out of your pocket. The internet is filled with people just living for views and clicks. They want to trade their knowledge for exposure. So, Palmer's on a mission to prove that with access to YouTube and Google, you can learn how to do anything. So join him as he learns from the internet.
So basically, what I was thinking, I was listening to the last episode that we, I talk about how I hate it when people say, like, nobody should say, I wish I knew how to do this.
Oh yeah.
So, so I don't think it's going to be like every show that this is going to happen, but this is definitely going to be the first time that this is just a little test of this segment to see how it kind of goes. So, where I'm going to learn something, like some weird quirky thing from the internet, and then like demonstrate it for anybody that's watching us live. I guess they would be able to see it.
It's gonna have a physical demonstration.
It might be like, I guess theoretically, like the recording log would be an example of something that I use the internet to learn how to do.
You could do a screen share.
Yeah, I could right? do that. That's a piece of it. That wasn't the quirky thing that I was going to do. So,
you got one. No, sorry.
Yeah, I have one. But that would be an example. Because I totally did use the internet to learn how to do like that. That spreadsheet is a result of the internet and the knowledge that you can learn with just like some really good like Google searches. Which that's a skill that.
Google searches in and of itself, I wouldn't mind a tutorial on.
Yeah, that is a skill that is definitely, that should be taught in school, I think. Just right along like APA should be how to do a
or MLA for us English majors.
Yep.
Sorry.
Or Chicago style for us publishers and pizza aficionados.
Oh my God. I have not been able to eat things like cheese, which obviously you know so much about, but I can't.
Yeah, man, pizza. I'm so sorry. Avocado.
Well,
you can eat an avocado, and that's the closest I found to cheese. It's like eating a stick of butter.
I do. Oh God, I love me an avocado. Yeah. I can eat those motherfuckers just raw. I mean, not the skin, obviously, but.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you. That'll do as a substitute. The bride incidentally makes these cauliflower pizzas. So there's no, it's a cauliflower crust. Oh,
yeah.
magical.
I've heard of that.
It's really good. No. It's I don't know. It's
no.
It's thin crust pizza, and I prefer thicker. But man, when we have them, it scratches that itch, no problem. They're really good. Maybe next time you're out, we'll have it. But so you have learned something.
So this is I will. I'll send a link out to. There's a variety of videos.
Fucking butterfly knife.
This is a butterfly knife trainer.
Oh my God!
Right. So you don't cut yourself.
Holy fuck!
I have a couple actual real ones, but this is just the trainer.
Okay, you're gonna have to say more about that, but hold that up so we can grab a screen grab for the non-live. Let's see that blade part too. Jesus. Okay. You need to explain a lot here.
I have always been fascinated with. These are called Balisongs, right? Or butterfly knives.
Oh, I didn't know the actual name for it. I just knew it from Big Trouble in Little China.
I actually have a fascination not with guns. That like my father really liked guns, and I'm not a huge gun guy at all. Like, I'm going to be taking 2 of my father's guns and keeping them, and it really makes me. I'm really conflicted over it because it kind of goes against like some really deep-seated like personal values. I have absolutely zero problems with anybody owning guns. My father owned. I went shooting with my father before. My father owned a lot of guns, but personally, I just have never. I don't hunt. I don't see any need to have a gun, and so that was that. And so now I'm compromising that because I do want to hunt, and I do want to have one of my father's rifles so that I can hunt. And yeah, so. But I've always been fascinated with other kinds of weapons, knives and swords, especially. Like I told Ash, whenever we end up with a house, I want to decorate my office with
human heads.
No, fictional weapons like so like proton packs and lightsabers and those, like, and just have an armory. It looks like an armory, but it's all fictitious weapons. You know what I mean? Like, wouldn't that be awesome?
That would be very cool.
So that's what I want. And again, through the spiral of YouTube that as one does, you just run across like knife videos with like I watch like those make videos, which leads to. I did not
run across knife videos, but go on.
No, listen, like I'll give you the progression. You're right. It doesn't just like appear on your suggestions. So I watch a lot of videos like I linked for the last episode with like Jimmy DeRista, right? So like making stuff. Through that, I start getting suggestions of forging. So people making, like, that's a different type of craft. So it's people like forging swords and knives, forging just in general. And then that starts zeroing down towards swords and knives. And now the swords and knives lead to videos of people showing off their knife collections, which leads to, hey, there's really awesome knockoff knives that you can get dirt cheap from China. And so that's what I was like, you know what? I've always wanted a butterfly knife. So Ohio law is really ambiguous. It basically says you can't carry around a deadly weapon, right? So there's no clear definition. Like it doesn't discriminate against any knife, right? But however, just saying it's a deadly, I mean, anything could be a deadly weapon.
Yeah, Ani right? DeFranco has this great lyric about any tool can be a weapon if you hold it right. Right. No, that's exactly right. So it's not like I want to carry these around on my hip, you know, because as like, I don't need to carry around a butterfly knife. But I do like, currently now there's like that trend for those fidgets. Have you seen those? Like they're like little toys for somebody that needs something to do that you hold. There's like those spinners where it's just a ball bearing on like a thing and you can spin them around. They spin really fast. You hold the ball bearing and they spin, and there's little click box with these different things that you push. But I just thought like this would be a nice like thing if I'm sitting on the couch by myself. Like if there's people around, obviously it would become annoying really quick. But no, that'd be the most badass thing I can think of for you to just sit there and do.
So I wanted to learn how, like, I wanted a balisong, I wanted a butterfly knife, and I wanted to learn how to open it coolly.
Fuck
right?
Yeah, that's half the thing.
I mean, because anybody can just do this, like, and be like, wah, 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 you know, that doesn't do anything. And so I used YouTube videos in about a week to really like learn the process of like opening and closing, so that it looks kind of like you know what you're doing. And it's really not that hard.
That's what she said.
But it looks like it's flourishy, you know. So I have been sitting on the couch just like watching TV, watching YouTube. Like I like, one of my funniest stories about my dad was I went over to visit him and he was sitting on the couch in his pajamas holding an M16. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? And he's like, well, I heard I knew you were coming over. I wanted to show you my new gun. I was like, Dad, I talked to you like 2 hours ago. I was like, have you been sitting there holding that gun for the last 2 hours while you watched the Discovery Channel? Oh yeah, I guess it has been 2 hours, you know? Like, I'm like, holy shit. And now I'm sitting there watching YouTube, like spinning around a butterfly knife and just like, so there's
someone chime in on the Twitter or something. Who is it in Big Trouble in Little? That's why I love butterfly knives, because of Big Trouble in Little China. I feel like it's Al Leong. He you would know him to see him, but I feel like he's got a little butterfly knife business going on. But yeah, so we had a toy butterfly knife, basically like kind of what you have, that we were able to get. I think you could get things like that in the 80s. Like, I don't know if you could get like a toy butterfly knife at like, Toys R Us, if Toys R Us still exists. Children's Palace or KB Toys. But me and Moto had one.
That is a badass toy store. That's like, yeah, they probably sell plastic butterfly knives.
But that's like where we got them. We got them like at toy stores. You used to be able to get stuff. Like when we did the Crow, even like we were able to get these like 9mm Beretta looking guns that we just spray painted the tip black, and then we were good because it was a different time, I guess. Incidentally, whenever I think of Children's Palace, do you remember Children's Palace? Do you remember that? Where that would be
over there in Barberton, right across from Rolling Acres.
Exactly. Yeah. I think of that and a few things I got there, but then I think that's where Tom Cruise's character worked in The Color of Money. They go into Children's Palace, and you see him there like selling panda bears or something to people.
Oh, that's
And then
crazy.
Paul Newman's like, "You should come play pool with me." But in any event, you did not get yours from Children's Palace. You got this trainer. What's the proper name again? Sorry, you said it, but I forgot.
Balisong.
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 Jawas.
Jawa. That's what I was thinking too. So that's just proof. That's the crazy thing that I learned in about a week. A week of just like watching
awesome.
YouTube videos. To just like.
You should walk tankers just doing that.
No, because that's I'll get arrested because this is a deadly. This isn't. This is a trainer.
Is that plastic? The blade looking part of it?
No. It
is metal.
It's thick, heavy metal, like it's steel.
Oh shit. Oh no. Okay. Oh, well, you could look cool on the couch. Jawas. I have to sample that.
I got that in my head.
I'm gonna
now.
sample that. I'm gonna make note of that right now.
Yeah. So that's the new segment.
That's great.
I'm just gonna learn I'm gonna learn some crazy thing to do from the internet, and then I'm gonna demonstrate it and talk about like the learning process and share the videos that I, like the best of the videos that I found that helped me learn that crazy thing. And maybe they might not be as crazy. Sometimes they might be more crazy than not. I don't know. We'll see.
That yeah, big or small. That's really cool. I mean, it's great to learn things, obviously, and I feel like I learn things very rarely. So
well, I just hope it inspires people to go out and use this great resource that we have to actually do stuff. So,
when I was talking to I was texting with Double D yesterday, and he I was telling him how the few tweets he sent out got so much more engagement than most of the ones I've done over the last few months. And he referenced you. He's like, well, the wise man once said, like, don't say you don't know how to do anything. And I did some research and I watched some videos and this is what I come up with. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I researched this, but I was like, I never watched any videos. And that was the better part of 10 years ago. So things have changed. I mean, obviously Twitter didn't exist 10 years ago, but my research on the topic is very out of date. So,
what's funny is, my phone must be downstairs. If somebody's tweeting me.
You just look at your watch like James Bond. He's like, oh, if someone's tweeting me on my watch.
Yeah, we are up to 3 viewers. I see that now.
Oh, that's so cool.
I have, one of those is me.
That's all right.
And one of them I think is Double D. But the third one out there,
is
welcome to Long Walk Short Drink,
you're our new best friend.
Inaugural live broadcast of our recording session for episode 21 of Long Walk Short Drink. The official mix down of this episode will get launched on next Tuesday. That's going to be May the 9th, 2017. So look for that.
God willing, the creek don't rise. I'm going to try to start editing this guy tomorrow.
And we don't get too long.
That's what she said.
Let's be cognizant of that too. And let's try to...
Dick's nickname in college.
Yeah.
Not mine, unfortunately, but yours.
Yep. But let's move on to Shit the Bride Says. What Shit the Bride Says do you got for us this week, Dave?
Oh, yes. Shit the Bride Says features selections from the clandestine Twitter page I started in 2010 to document the things my wife says that make me laugh so hard I have to stop everything and preserve them. She, of course, denies any and all association with the Twitter page from which these quotes are read. However, as the editor of said page, I can assure you, everything repeated here was most certainly said by the bride. So I have this time the last of the many kind of catch-ups I think I did. So I think for quite a while I kept just like probably a text document of the crazy shits that she said that made me laugh. And then eventually I started the Twitter account. So I'm going to read a few here. Some of them are not, and because they're tweets and they're actually like multi-part things. It's more than 4 tweets, but it's not too long. But the very last one actually breaks into more time-stamped material. So this first one was like just generally, I think, 2011 or something. So she, this one bears a little explaining. This was a great quote she had that I put on another show. So I didn't actually do it as a tweet. But I don't know if I can find it, but it was, I made, listeners of the show know that I made movies growing up. Remaking movies.
We lost our third.
They did. Yeah. They're like, oh my God, really? Again with this. But, so she had said something with, watching those where she's like, I can't believe you got anyone to love. Wait, no. She goes, I can't believe she's watching one of these. Like I remade Frankenstein as an 8-year-old twice. And she's watching that. She's like, I can't believe you got someone to have sex with you. Wait, no. I can't remember the order. And then she's like, oh no, that was bad. And she's like, no, that was it. She's sorry, I fucked it up. But she's like, I can't believe you got someone to love you. She's like, oh my God, that sounds terrible. She's like, oh no, I mean have sex with you. I'm like, all of that sounds terrible. but understandable. So nonetheless, this is kind of an extension of that. There's a reference to that here. So she says, why so serious? Didn't you have any joy as a child? And I say, of course I did. Who do you think you're talking to? And she goes like, I seen the videos. You're all like, ah. And I say, well, maybe I didn't have a lot of joy then, but I have a lot of joy now. And then she goes, who is this Joy? I will punch her. And then she goes, this is another kind of conversation one. She goes, I can pretty much guarantee I'm going to go to jail in the fall. And I say, why? She goes, for stalking. I say, who? She says, Joss Whedon's filming a movie in Cleveland. Incidentally, that was the Avengers.
Yeah.
So Joss Whedon's filming a movie in Cleveland. And I go, you're going to stalk Joss Whedon? She's like, oh, yes. I'm going to grab him by what hair he has left and make him promise to start making my shows again like I like them. Okay, and then lastly, this is the first that starts an actual kind of chronology or date. It's Saturday, March 26th. This must be 2011. She says, you're my lover, my partner, my best friend, my buddy, and the bane of my existence. I think describes all great marriages. You know what the bane of my
existence is?
Bowling.
Bowling. Fucking bowling.
It's one of my favorite things anyone has ever said. And I don't remember when you said it, but I remember you saying out loud at a bowling alley, bowling is the bane of my existence.
It so is. I fucking hate it. Nothing will take me from 0 to pissed right the fuck off faster than bowling.
Perhaps you'd wonder why you shoot a man before he rolls his 9th frame. It's not the Bane you mean, I think, but... No.
That's funny because the bride said, why so serious? And all I could think of was, why so serious?
Exactly. I think it was after that. Yeah. Oh, incidentally, I think I deleted these notes, but when I was editing one of the 18s that was all screwed up, it was long. They were really long, and I couldn't watch anything, listen to it, but I could watch something. So I put on first Batman Begins and then The Dark Knight on mute with subtitles as I edited the show. And Jesus Christ. I think what I came away with, other than obviously they're awesome, but like the Batman Begins is underrated. That one doesn't get enough credit for being as awesome as it is.
You know what? It's because, I mean, The Dark Knight is so amazing, and Heath Ledger is just so amazing. It just got overshadowed. But you're right, it is amazing. Like the first one is so. I mean, that's what kickstarted the whole thing. That's what got everybody hooked on that take. You know?
Yeah, it's really good. Like if I made a note recently too of like shows that we have promised, because like Double D was like, hey, what about the Mel Brooks show? And we have
about the RoboCop show? We got to get a RoboCop show.
Exactly.
We got to get a Mel Brooks show. We got to get a Swiss Army Man show.
I could just rattle some of them off here. We got Revenge with Shamrock and Moto and Mr. J. Yep. That one should come soon, I think. I don't know if I should mention this one that you mentioned yesterday.
What do you think of trying for that next week?
I think we got to start shooting towards some of these, yeah. So
let's get that one knocked out. Let's see if we can line up Shamrock and Mr. J up for next week sometime.
I like that idea.
But yeah, let's try to get that in line for next week.
We got the next Palmer's pick is going to be 28 days later, right? No, that was just thrown into the mix. We don't know what she's going to pick. Right?
Oh yeah, we don't know what she's going to pick, but maybe we can do a special edition Palmer's pick and watch the Kill Bill.
Yeah, that should come hot on the heels of the Revenge show. I would add it to the Revenge show, but I think four guests is going to be pushing it in terms of trying.
I know that's going to be crazy.
What else we got? We got a Mel Brooks show, such as it is. RoboCop, someday The Exorcist. We got to get Twinkie back. I think I put Twinkie like every blank episodes. Like we just need to talk to him.
Can we talk about another house? Like Double D had another great idea today when I was talking to him. I showed him the spreadsheet today, and he's like, "You guys need a color commentator, like somebody to just kind of like look your stuff up while you're talking, and if you're like, what is this, and then you look it up, but also somebody like while one of us is working on the recording log." The other person would have there would be a person left to interact with.
Oh, interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's something to consider, just something to think about.
Well, maybe we start as the family extends, because we often talk about, as these things grow with the sponsorships and all this shit, like, and the responsibilities. And of course we have more pressing responsibilities, and we try to keep this fun. We're like, okay, what's the core of it? The core of it is the two of us being in contact and talking and having fun. And so if we can keep coming back to that, that's the essential component.
Right.
Then the microphones are important. And then now the video. But we could always then just say like, for non-essential shows, like for Revenge show, you got to schedule that. But like we throw out to the extended family, like we're recording on this night, and then maybe one of those other folks joins us in that capacity.
Oh, absolutely. I think that would be, and that's a way that we can rotate that around. I just thought that another, yet again, Double D, like joining the family, and
what will come of his initial project that evolved into
I don't
his
even want to talk about, like, I want all that thunder. I don't want to steal one bit of that thunder. So
does he? And I'm guessing that should be a show, like that we talk to him, or no? Is he going to remain in the shadows?
At least like have him on just long enough to like introduce what the project is, and how. Man, I can't wait for that.
I mean, obviously he's a kindred spirit. I wonder if we should have him on well, he's watching now, so or listening now, I think. So Double D, if you're interested in having an introductory episode, a la Twinkie or Shamrock or what have you, obviously we would love that. Of course, because I only know you through a few texts. And now I'm ready to do fucking Karate in the Garage with you. Be nice to see you and talk to you.
Well, we could also do that introductory episode, and this is another one that's on the list, is the Disney episode, is have Double D. And,
yes. Oh, and that's like a double header. Stan the Man. Yeah,
and Stan the Man.
That would be great. I think that would be great for listeners, especially because I wouldn't have as much to say. They could use the break. So we should schedule that after a Dave Heavy episode.
Stop it with the too much to say. You don't say, like, it's just you and I. You have to carry at least 50% of this. And I know I step the shit all over you talking all the time. You step over me talking all the time. That just happens.
That's life. It's life in the big city, kids.
What were you talking about?
Oh, there's only a couple more. I just wanted to keep us accountable. The Alien films quadrilogy. That's a someday to work towards, because I have only seen 3 and 4.
Well, those. I mean, I love that series of movies.
I know that's your favorites. That's what. And so I first thought of this because the Dark Knight trilogy I think would be good. We did the Stand, and then I had that old binder. It's like my favorite 10 movies in different media. So I don't think those should necessarily be shows in and of themselves, but it might be amusing little pieces like Dave's favorite whatever romantic comedies as of 2006. Or I have it in the book as as my favorite top 10 JCVD movies, which maybe that's the best thing to keep it to. I don't know. When was that? That was episode like 13. I remember because it was Double D. It was before he was a part of the team, and he was like, "You guys really did justice to Cyborg and JCVD, but I think that's good for now."
That's good for now. Maybe that's enough for now.
We can consult him on when people are ready for more.
That's very true.
That is our highest viewed show, though, or our highest. The numbers for the Cyborg episode are the higher than any others. So I that warms my heart just because of.
That's awesome.
My love for JC. So anyway, those are some shows coming down the pike. It sounds like we'll prioritize the revenge show. I like that idea a lot.
Let's shoot for that for next week, and then we'll end that show with giving the first assignment,
nice,
motherfucking Fight Club.
I know it was so hard for me not to talk about Fight Club when you're talking about the support groups in earnest earlier.
Oh yeah. Oh no. I mean, but that I even almost said, I was like, like Fight Club. They let Marla Singer into the testicular cancer support group because you don't. I mean, who's going to be the douchebag that's like, I'm sorry, you can't come to our support group. We're supporting each other and not you. Like, they don't turn you away, so.
I saw just moments of that. I mean, it's been a while. Our first few episodes, we always reference Fight Club, and it's been a little while. Yeah. But when I was gathering clips for the Dave Diggs segment, I broke out Fight Club, and I was like, there should be something. I ultimately pared it down to things that my criteria actually for the theme thing was like, it's got to be stuff that influenced me so much as a youth that I imitated it, meaning either made it into a movie, started dressing like so and so, or like I had to create some rules because there are too many things. But just to see a few minutes as I was fast forwarding through it, I did that. I want you to hit me as hard as you can. And he hit him in the ear. I'm just like, oh my God, I want to watch this right now.
Yeah, sure.
I'm sorry, I've never.
I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
Perfect. God damn.
What?
God,
that's so as good. Hard as you can.
And I tell you what, it gave me goosebumps in the movie theater the first time when he's fighting Tyler Durden outside the bar, and so he fights the first time, and then two guys watch, and then the next time he's fighting Tyler Durden, and there's 6 guys watching him, and then they're out fighting outside, and there's 10 guys out there. And then I remember the first time where that one dude stands up and he puts his hand up and he's like, "Can I be next?"
I forgot about that.
And when that happens, and I'm just like, and you realize what just started, the paradigm just shifted more, and you're just like, oh, and you get these goosebumps where you're like, oh, he just brutally beat the shit out of Ed Norton. And that guy's like, "Can I be next?" He once beaten up, and then I love those guys are their lieutenants. By the end, when Project Mayhem is going on, all of those same guys that are standing around in that first fight when there's like 4 or 5 guys out there, you can see all of those guys as lieutenants later on in Project Mayhem.
I'm adding Fight Club show to the list because I've never read the book. I'm going to listen to the book
really?
eventually.
Yeah.
And I know it's based on
great.
a lot of like real kind of shit that went on.
Yep.
It's so easy to understand that. Like I was sitting there capturing this stuff days after my surgery, got my butt cut off. I'm in so much fucking pain, but I'm trying to distract myself by doing this thing. And I'm watching the thing where he punches him, and I'm like, oh, I get that.
Yeah.
He's like jumping off, like never been a fight. I don't know. And when I was a kid, like I specialized in movie martial arts, you know, like I was great at that. Yeah. But the one time I had this kid was wanting to fight me. It was so funny because it was a kid a couple grades younger than me, and maybe several. And he was he's like one of those guys. He walked like this, like he put his arms way out to walk. It's just fucking ridiculous. And he had like a mullet and stuff. And we were at
fucking mullets, awesome.
Remember like the Methodist church in Richmond, just off Metzger? So then there was a park.
There's like
just
50
beyond that.
churches in Richmond, but I think I know the one you're talking about.
It's like it's just past like it's the one probably nearest to where you lived on Sunset.
Okay,
so if you go down to the crossroads and the four-way stop and take a left, it's that one. And that's like my grandfather that had the same surgery as me. That he died before I was born, but he paid for the stained glass window in that place, and eventually we went there as a family.
Right.
My dad was in there leading some kind of Bible study, and I'm out back hanging out with Jacko, who at that time lived just across the street from there. And I was deep into the Van Damme stuff, and could do the splits and the kicks and the helicopter kicks and all that shit. And something came up where this kid, he was younger, but he wanted to fight me. And my parents told me when they were letting me watch these Van Damme movies, like, if you get into fights, we're taking all of this shit away. Like, you can't watch this. Oh,
shit.
And so I literally didn't like fight the kid. And he was just like, oh my God, this guy's so old, he's not going to fight me. But I was just like, oh my God, I want to fucking kick this guy. But like, I don't want to get my shit taken away. My dad's in that church. Anyway, so
that's awesome.
I don't know. But yeah, I so identify with that. I think a lot of probably dudes do on some level of like, yeah, totally. I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
I've never been in a fight. I mean, after watching that movie, I want to say, I mean, barring like family members, like roughhousing with like brothers or cousins or whatever, right? I would say that there's a fair amount of men that make it through life that never get in a fist fight. Wouldn't that? Would that make sense?
And in some ways, I'd hope so. Cause like, there's that dichotomy of like, in some way, you want like, just like Tyler Durden says, and that's that part of Edward Norton that wonders, but the reality of it is fucking like horrendously brutal.
Yeah, well,
to every like whether it's your hand
not to like
or
steal
whatever.
thunder from the future Fight Club episode, but the inspiration for the movie was because Chuck Palahniuk tells the story on the DVD. He was camping, and the campsite next to him was like at 4 a.m. in the morning was like blaring music and drinking beer and being crazy. And he got pissed and went over there to try to get him to turn all their shit down. And like 3 of them beat the shit out of him. And so he had to go back to work on that following, after that weekend. And he said, it was amazing to me. I could have gotten away with anything. Nobody would look at me nobody will look you in the eye when both of them are black is essentially the line that he says. Like, and he's like, and I would try to force people to look me in the eye, and they just won't do it. If, because he had he's like, I look like a raccoon, like 2 giant black eyes, and nobody would look at me.
That's amazing. I don't think I knew that.
And so it made me feel, and that alludes to, because they talk about that with Project Mayhem, where they're like, we're the people that you don't notice, that you don't see. And that's how they can get away with having, because they're doing those jobs in the movie, and you're like, how in the fuck does nobody notice that waiter's missing 3 fucking teeth, his nose is taped up, and one eye is swollen shut? Like, nobody's even saying, and that it's to like promote that illusion of they are the invisible class of people, you know, and that they can be that fucking beat up and nobody's concerned about their well-being, you know.
I'm getting excited about that show now.
Yeah, like so
man,
fucking good. I mean, again, layers and onions, you know, like that's just the way it is. So, all right, let's rapid fire some shit. So,
okay.
First off, have you ever seen The Mist? Frank Darabont.
No,
made
that's one of the beauties of these the Stephen King thing for me. I have seen prior to what we've gone through. I saw The Dead Zone once. I literally don't remember it. I mean, I saw it like as an adult, but I do not remember it. I saw Carrie. I saw The Shining.
Okay.
And I think that's it. And then, of course, through the course of this thing, I've seen some other stuff, but no, I haven't seen that.
So Frank Darabont re-released that when that was out in theaters. He re-released it as a black and white cut because he said it's a million. Like in his opinion, it was a million times more terrifying in black and white.
What year was that?
I don't.
But I like what decade it was that?
In the 2000s, I think.
Okay.
And so when it got released on Blu-ray, this is how I know it was in the 2000s. When it got released on Blu-ray, one of the options was you could watch it in black and white.
Sweet.
Which is awesome. And so that was really cool. I heard they're re-releasing Logan in black and white. Like you can go in the theater and watch it in black and white.
Oh, nice.
So I'm going to try to find that because that's like right up my alley.
Oh, that's cool. They did that with the Walking Dead pilot. They would air it. They would air it in black and white sometimes, and that's the only season so far we've actually bought, and it has that option. And I haven't. I don't think I actually watched it, but it was pretty cool. Yeah, it adds something, you know.
Yeah,
certainly.
So, yeah.
Incidentally, and I know I won't get into it, but I would recommend, like, someday do go back to The Walking Dead. This was a super brutal opening to the season, the most brutal I have fucking ever seen. But that show is so well done, and it is better than any stand adaptation we'd actually get in terms of dealing with the kind
aftermath
of the
aftermath of the world
and how people react. It's so well done. The people that make that show care so much. It's worth revisiting if you've been away for a while. When you're feeling up to it, maybe in the fall or something when the leaves turn and the horror movies come out. So the Mist, is that a new Blu-ray?
No, that's been out for a while.
But it was just something that came to your
I was
attention.
just using that as an example that they did. They do that as in black and white, and that they're re-releasing Logan in black and white.
Oh shit! Yeah. In theaters, see, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Huh.
Then leading to that, we're gonna jump into my pleasure, and then we'll go to King Corner, and then we'll wrap. Because I'm gonna probably dominate the next. Well, the King Corner definitely, because I'm gonna lay out the book club.
Good.
And then I'm
gonna dominate. I love it. I'm ready.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got another beer to my right. I can't wait. I'm gonna sit back. Sorry to our visual listeners, but I'll just be in the corner anyway. So. No,
don't. Please still interject. I still want you to interject.
Please try to stop me, but but I'm gonna sit back anyway. Is that one of the selects? Are you on the selects?
This is the Bud Select because this is just because this was what was cold. My PBR was warm, so
he's like very qualified. So I know you're liberal.
What's going
on? Logan, we need to have another beer, buddy. Actually,
do you think he would come on the show? Did you guys talk about that?
He might. I'll work on him.
I know he doesn't always have a lot to say, but I don't know. I hung out with him for like 3 hours. We talked the whole time. It was fucking great.
Yeah, no,
he says
absolutely.
the best things, obviously, like people who don't speak a lot do.
Mr. McGee.
Right. Yeah, and that is very, very true.
You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
So yeah, no, I'll work on him. It's not going to work out because I'm going to somebody's house for tomorrow is May the 4th day. Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. So, yep. So,
come on, man, quit that. Yes, sir. That's nice. Do you celebrate in some way or acknowledge that?
Well, that I am tomorrow. I'm going to hang out at a buddy's house, and we're gonna watch Star Wars movies and play
Which
Star
ones?
Wars trivia stuff.
I
don't know what we're gonna do. I'm gonna drop. I'm gonna rip the Robot Chicken Star Wars on a thumb drive to take over, so we could watch if we wanted to. I think there's just gonna be a variety of stuff to do, and sit around and eat some cake and watch Star Wars stuff. And
hey, I'm super jealous. We're gonna come back to that, but this is a reference for mostly only Logan and probably Pumps if ever he hears this. We're not just gonna be doing one thing. We're gonna be doing lots of things. That's my favorite. I don't know if you know that story. That's one of my favorite Logan things. I was down visiting Pumps and his wife in Columbus years ago. Not that many years ago though, and we were having fun. I think this was the night I very foolishly bought like a double-sized bottle of wine. I drank the whole thing, and we tried to do like a Steve reunion the next day. Maybe it wasn't that day, but we were having fun, and Logan was there, and he called his wife, who I think had not yet like come home yet, and must have had the opportunity to not have to go home directly to the kids or something. So he was trying to talk her into coming over to Pumps' house, where we had currently, as they were speaking, pulled up on YouTube on a television. Oh, this is oddly appropriate. Some kind of like someone filming. I wish I knew what it was called. Maybe I can find it on YouTube and post it. Somebody posted a video where they were running a VHS camera behind the wheel of a car, driving around that exact area I was talking about, the Methodist church and that Circle Drive and that parking lot. And
really?
With the radio on. Yeah. So we're watching that. And Logan's on the phone to his wife being like, you got to come over here. We're having lots of fun. We're not just doing one thing. We're like doing all kinds of things. He's like trying to sell it to her. And that entered the lexicon of Pumps and his wife and me for the rest of our lives. So now I've introduced it to our listeners, and oh my God, I hope that YouTube clip still exists, because I was like, who took this? It's like the early mid 80s. Oh, it's great. Yeah, it's great. Okay, I'm sorry.
That's awesome.
You were, I'm sure, going somewhere.
My Palmer's pleasure right now.
Rapid fire. Yeah, good luck.
Ladies and gentlemen, Zedco is proud to present
Palmer's pleasure.
Steamy.
No, please, no, too sexy.
So yeah, my Palmer's pleasure is the Dark Tower trailer. So for those of you listening, you may have saw on the Twitter, I had tweeted, they had posted a GIF, or it wasn't, it's a video because it has sound. Just a small little 15-second thing. And I actually, like, Ash laughed because I jumped. I was so excited. I was like, and they said the trailer is coming soon. That's what all it kept saying. And then today I'm in my training that's half a day long. And I happened to like check my phone and the trailer is there. Like it dropped this morning and I couldn't listen to it with sound all the way until like after the training was over. So it was like 1 o'clock before I could finally listen to the trailer with sound. But I'm more than happy to, I shared the link in there. So let's do this. Let's watch this trailer. Be sure to talk over it so we don't get sued. And then we'll come in to a King Corner where we'll talk about the book club and you're going the haps with Stephen King. So.
Okay, so I'm clicking on the trailer now. I pause it, came right up. So I'm at like 1 second. We'll count it off. We'll do the Palmer's Picks count of just the single number. 3.
All right, and go.
3.
Oh, so awesome. So badass.
Thousands of generations.
That was the 15 seconds actually that I tweeted yesterday.
Oh, just the pre-logos and stuff?
Oh, no, him loading the guns with his guns like swishing.
Ideal and lead, yeah.
Yeah.
These visions, as you call them.
What do you see?
I see a tower, the man in black, and the gunslinger.
They're just dreams. They're not real, Jake.
Oh, it's interesting. It's like a little boy, like a little, like a Danny Torrance or something.
I know this.
Yep.
For listeners, I don't know anything about these books other than Palmer loves them.
It's you.
Oh my gosh.
You're a
Love them
gunslinger,
so
right?
much that I have a tattoo on my arm.
That's right.
There are no gunslingers.
What? The bride would also leave me for Idris Elba, so
does the
there's
man in
that.
black want to
She's not
destroy
allowed to
the
go to this movie.
The tower protects both our worlds.
Who wouldn't leave their partner for Idris Elba?
I don't know, though. Like, him in The Office is irritating. That's what I try to seize upon.
He's like the devil, isn't he?
Oh, really?
Oh, he's horrible in The Office. His character.
Death always wins.
Your world might be
I mean,
gone.
we'll talk about this, but that's
but
Randall
mine
Flagg,
isn't.
right?
If you let that
Yeah,
tower fall,
that is Randall
billions of
Flagg.
people die.
Do they have guns and bullets in your world?
You're gonna like Earth a lot.
Also, I mean, this is no spoiler. I'm trying to keep it as spoiler-free as possible.
You clawing your
But
way
the
out of
books
the
and the
darkness.
movies are
Did you tell the kid
completely.
who ever walked with
They
you
are about the
dies
same
by my
characters,
hand?
but they're independent from each other. Like
I will kill him.
think of them
for
as
both of us.
uh,
I do not aim at my hand.
two different versions of.
Sorry, I just watched him load that gun.
His
That's
hand has
fucking
forgotten the face of his
super
father. I
badass.
aim at my eye.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I shoot
They
with
call
my
that
hand.
his
I shoot with my mind.
reloading trick.
I do not kill with my gun.
Watch this.
I get goosebumps. Still goosebumps.
I kill with my heart.
Oh, god damn it! Wow. I teared up a little. I have no connection to that other than your love of it. Holy shit. Oh my god.
Oh, it's gonna be so good, man. I mean, I'm just like speechless, right?
Yeah,
like,
me too.
oh, so awesome.
How did those oh my, I don't even know where to start. Like, I did the only character I'm familiar with is the Randall Flagg character, who I'd seen portrayed by. That was one of my favorite things about the miniseries. I thought, like, oh, that's perfect for a characterization of Randall
that guy
Flagg.
was who you pictured Randall Flagg looking like, right?
Yeah, and it's kind of period accurate, even sort of for the 78 when it was initially came out. But the McConaughey, the little bit you saw him talk and stuff, I could see it. I can accept it, which is a lot to say, like, in a way, because if you think back, or if you go to our YouTube channel and watch our reactions to Star Wars in 1999, and I'm reacting to the addition of characters to the Star Wars universe that, to me, have established themselves as other characters. So I didn't phrase this well at the time in my at 19 or whatever, 20 as I was, talking about Samuel L. Jackson. Basically, what I was trying to say was, like, I just couldn't not see Jules Winfield from Pulp Fiction in his portrayal, because that's the way he sounds to me. And Matthew McConaughey is one of those kind of guys, like, he always kind of talks like this. He's like, this movie would be a lot better if we take our shirts off. But that's as per usual. The majority of my impressions are other people's impressions of impressions. So that's my Matt Damon doing Matthew McConaughey. But
that's awesome.
But even so, like, I could see it. I was like, that's okay. Like, I accept that as a character that I know. Now, I do not know the Idris Elba character. How does he sort of stack up against who you imagined all these years?
Well, that's funny that you bring that up, because that's probably one of the major points of contention, and I think one of the things that helped force the hand of Stephen King and the studio coming out and essentially, because I mean, everybody's kind of on board. Matthew McConaughey and Idris Elba in their own personal Twitters, like that's where I found that video that I tweeted out yesterday, was an exchange that they had in somebody's comment thread. Like it was just, Matthew McConaughey started the tweet. Remind me of a correction I needed to make from episode 20 during the King Corner when we start that.
Oh, we're not in the King Corner?
No, this is still Palmer's Pleasure.
Oh,
the King, like, because we're talking about the Dark Tower trailer. That's my pleasure, and that's going to lead to the King Corner.
Okay, correction. That's easy.
So
you need to make a correction. You are wrong about.
Yeah, I do need to make
episode 20.
Yes, actually, in episode 20, you mentioned that the book of an alien trying to get to Derry to taint a water source was called the Tommyknockers, when in fact it was the Dreamcatcher. What's the name of the book? There's the correction.
Oh, you fucked up,
I referred to it
sir.
as the Tommyknockers like multiple times, and I meant the Dreamcatcher. So there's the correction. This was one of the major points of contention because Stephen King has always described the Gunslinger as based on Clint Eastwood as the man with no name. Like that. That's who the Gunslinger. His vision of the Gunslinger, who all of the
That's
books
the
are
only
written.
Gunslinger, really. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it really is.
But you can't be in the 60s right now. You know?
Right. And so there was a lot of uproar when Idris Elba, because, and this is just acknowledging it, that it existed, not supporting it. But oh my gosh, he's supposed to be white, and you cast a black man in there. You know,
I'm gonna insert the quote there that I captured from my Dave's Digs that I'm not using from Lethal Weapon 2. It goes,
oh, okay.
I don't think it's such a good time for you to go to South Africa. Why? Why? Because you're black. And then Joe Pesci's like, you are. He is. And then Danny Glover goes, of course I'm black. Why do you think I want to go to South Africa? Join up with my oppressed brothers. Fight the president of the fascist white regime. Fascist white regime. One man, one vote. One man, one vote. To free South Africa, you dumb son of a bitch. You dumb son of a bitch.
Dumb son of a bitch.
Joe Pesci is so classic.
Riggs is upstairs, like dealing with Arian or Ariat or whatever the fuck his name is. Anyway, but no, I can imagine that was a point of contention. I sort of suspected that based on the covers I'd seen. Actually, the covers I'd seen, the one, remember when you, we tweeted it out, but the picture you shared with me of your loot from cleaning out your dad's house and your stepmom's house of the Dark Tower that you'd given him and that you had. That figure, I'm sure it was not based on him because he wasn't famous at the time, but it looked like Benedict Cumberbatch to me.
Oh, okay.
On one of the covers.
No, that's fair. I mean, you know, he always compares it to Clint Eastwood as the man with no name, and I guess that's in my head. But really, though, I'm not attached to those movies like you are, so I don't have that image burn. I mean, I have the cover of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. That's the like iconic image of him like standing in the serape, you know.
Is that
and
the
it's like
poncho?
kind of over to the side and like. He's got his gun belt on. And,
is the serape like a poncho thing? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What sucks is like literally that's one of my very favorite things about that character is that fucking poncho. He wears it, but he wears it in the first two movies, Fistful of Dollars and For a Few Dollars More. And he only wears it at like the very end of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And for that reason, like the one that's regarded as a masterpiece, I'm like, fuck it doesn't have the poncho. Like, what am I even doing here?
That's what you threw it out for, was because of a fucking poncho.
I mean, I should give it another
it's
shot.
It's no
but
Ewok
I
song. I mean, geez, really?
Yeah. I mean, that was a mistake. And when we were talking about it last time and I was thinking about what you'll do tomorrow, I was thinking about Empire. And Empire is the least fucked with of the original
it's the
trilogy.
Most perfect one.
Yeah, and I was just thinking about, we were talking about Yoda last time in that scene where he's playing dumb. I was like, oh my God. And now we're talking about those Man with No Name trilogy to Sergio Leone, like Fistful of Dollars for a few dollars more, and The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. Oh, no, I really want to watch those first two. But I should watch The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, give it another try. And when eventually I listen to The Dark Tower, I'll keep that in the back of my mind.
I have that trilogy on Blu-ray, and I have not been able to get through it. So
wait,
maybe
you have it on... Wait, what now?
I have the Man with No Name trilogy on Blu-ray.
Oh, on Blu-ray? Like a physical thing?
Yeah, it's like a collection that came out at, like, it was a Father's Day. I got it for $19, and it like had $19.99, and it had all 3 movies in it.
I have it on DVD, but I have been learning that Blu-ray is, for stuff like you love, it is kind of worth it sometimes.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry, but so I'm wondering, because I will see the movie first before I read the books. And that looked wicked badass with Idris Elba. So I wonder if he will just be for me in a generation, like who the
But again, though, it really helps that you have to treat the movies and the books as 2 separate things.
Oh, I didn't hear that super well over the thing. So can you elaborate more on that and like the distinction that they've made?
I can't without spoiling it too much, but I can just tell you like that just treat the movies as like one telling of this story and the books as like another telling of the story, that both can exist in the same universe.
Oh, that's very interesting. That sounds a little like Walking Dead or Game of Thrones, you know, for sort of contemporary. Well, that's a contemporary example as well. But, you know, like Walking Dead is an adaptation of a comic book, but they do alter things slightly. You can have fans of the comic still be surprised by stuff.
And I think that if you knew the stories, you would know what I'm talking about when I'd say like there is a continuity that's very important. And this trailer, like I told another Dark Tower fan when I was texting back and forth, Stan the Man actually, I was like, there's a lot of glaring omissions even in this like 2-minute trailer, that if I didn't know I'm supposed to treat these movies separate from the books, I would be really livid about.
How much of that do you attribute to like the trailerness of it, and how much? Because I don't know how much you know about the rest of it. I mean, think about something like Harry Potter.
There is glaring differences from the book.
Like they're just gonna just flat out change the way they deal with stuff.
Yeah. Yes. And I'm really steering towards like spoiler territory, and I don't. Double D and I talked about this actually earlier too. Like because he's like, I'm one of those rare people that actually enjoys the story better if I know everything about it going into it.
That's interesting. That actually goes along a little bit with. Remember when I was last episode, I was talking about how I was watching all those Stephen King talks, and he was talking about spoilers, and he had this great thing because some of them are supposed to be clean, and he'll curse and stuff, and he was just like. I don't know what he said, but it was something like "motherfuck spoilers." Like, who cares? That doesn't matter. Like, it's the way that the story is told that matters, and the journey that you get to go on and stuff. So,
and there's that. Well, I mean, and like Double D had a great example. He's about some kids need to know, or else they'll just stress out over the natural
really
tension of the movie. Like they'll just like get ramped up and can't handle it, and it's just a natural process of storytelling to try to ramp up that anxiety, that like tension. The hypothetical tension turns to real tension sometimes in kids.
Oh wow!
And the way that you can break that is just tell them how the story, like it's okay. This is what happens,
really?
And then it's like instantly, and then they're okay.
I'm honestly not sure where I sit with that. This is a little bit of non sequitur that I promise won't be very long, but the bride and I watch regularly the show The Deadliest Catch, which is fishermen on the Bering Sea catching crab, and it's like one of the most harrowing jobs in the world. And in the last few years, they've taken to like putting at the very beginning. You know how like we put the beginning of our show. I stole this from Tell 'em Steve Dave, where you put a few like quotes that are intriguing You know, like maybe this one's like, oh, I got my butt cut off, and it's at the beginning, and they're like, what the fuck? So hopefully they listen.
Please I got my butt cut off at the beginning.
Yeah. So there's a few things at the beginning to hopefully like rope you into listening later. The Deadliest Catch is taken to this thing where they'll put this kind of revelation right up at the beginning, and it makes me furious, like as a storyteller, because I'm just like, and as both a storyteller and a viewer, where I'm like, why are you doing this? Like, who are you roping in with that? Like, you've got your viewers. Don't fucking spoil it for us. Like, they literally spoil the whole thing. I mean, they don't spoil the whole thing in such that they tell you how they get to what they're revealing.
They spoil it enough, though, because they're so formulaic in their storytelling and editing, that with their bumpers that they put on at the beginning, you're like, well, I know what's going to happen now, because every one of these episodes follows the same arc, like template.
Or at least I know how it's going to end up. So I think maybe that's a generational thing where it's like, I prefer not to know that. I'd like to have that experience of like, oh shit. And then wondering like how it's going to work out, rather than just like putting it together. It's like, well, this is still going to have to happen. So, I mean, you do that a little bit with any trailer, but anyway, sorry, I got a little diverted there, but that's an interesting, that idea of kids and their anxiety. Maybe it is a generational thing. Maybe this whole idea of like spoilers will be a moot point before too long.
Yeah.
I see a finger in that book. What are you up to there?
All right. Well, let's roll in the King Corner.
Honey, come on over here, sugar buns. This machine just called me an asshole.
So, my one correction, it's not the Tommy Knockers. It was the Dreamcatcher was the book I was talking about in the last episode. But let's
stop the thing already. I have this Google alert set for when people fuck up with Stephen King.
Yes.
And I will let you fucking know.
I am not going to listen to your episodes anymore since you made that mistake in episode 20 of Long Walk Short Drink where you misquoted a Stephen King.
Audible, schmaudible, and I don't give a goddamn about the free things
Which, by the way,
we can get.
Remember our sponsors. Go to Audible Trial / Long Walk LWSD, right?
Yeah, it's audibletrial.com /LWSD for over 180 titles to choose from your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. For listeners of the WLSD podcast, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out this goddamn amazing service, sir. We're recommending, of course, The Dead Zone, because that's going to be what we're starting our book club with, and that's read very freshly and newly by Mr. James Franco, who I just watched in 127 hours, which of course came out years ago, but was recommended to me on this podcast by Mr. J, and we are recommending to you to listen to The Dead Zone, and you can get it for goddamn free thanks to audible.com.
That's how I'm going to get it. I'm going to use our promo.
audibletrial.com /
LWSD.
Download your free audiobook today. Go to audible.com /
LWSD. This is your fucking podcast, Dave.
I know, but acronyms are hard. I have zero respect for acronyms.
I keep making this dog bark at our neighbor's house because
I don't know. Like, people say AC, I can't handle it. Like, I don't like acronyms. Yeah. So, but this is my favorite acronym, so I should get it right. To download your free audiobook, go today to audibletrial.com /LWSD. Again, that is audible.com / LWSD for your free damn audiobook. Get that Dead Zone with James Franco narrating and it cuts off his fucking arm.
Okay. And this is how I'm going to roll in the promo for our other sponsor sponsoring the book club, providing all of the resource materials to help facilitate the discussion. Go ahead and roll that promo in like this. Hey, Palmer here. Dave and I are so excited to be doing this Long Walk Short Drink book club reading of The Dead Zone by Stephen King. Materials for this project were provided by the site bookrags.com. With over 6,000 study guides available on their website, bookrags.com has everything you need to study and ace your lit classes. Enter the promo code PODCAST to get 15% off your subscription. Thanks so much to the great people over at bookrags.com for helping to make this book club possible. So keep listening and keep reading. Have a good one. So this is how it's going to go down. Just to reiterate, everyone. So the next episode that you listen to, Long Walk Short Drink episode 22, that's when at the end of that, I will give the first official assignment, like the kickoff, to go ahead and read the book. Just to let you know, we're going to break the book down across 4 episodes. So we're going to break it into 4 chunks, and that equates to, I'm going to use page numbers. If you're listening to it on audio, it's going to be a little bit more tricky.
So you're going to need to. I mean, if you're not going to pony up for the copies we have, possibly.
Oh yeah, you could do a Kindle. You could do a Kindle as well,
or chapters or something. I see there's a prologue, a part 1, part 2, and notes from the Dead Zone.
I already have it all broken up.
I know. Sorry. I'm gonna sit back and let you break it down, boss.
So the first week we're going to talk about the prologue through chapter 6. That takes us to about page 116 of the book. Then we're going to go to page 200. The second week we will talk about chapter 7 through, and let me get to it there. That takes us to about page 213 of the book, where we'll read chapter 7 through 14. Then we'll go from chapters 15 to, I think it's 21 at that point. And then the fourth one will wrap up the end of the book, from chapter 21 to the end of the book. So that's how that's going to go. And then the 5th week is where we'll kind of compare the whole book as all together to the adaptations, the 2 adaptations that exist, which is the movie starring our great friend Chris Walken.
That's me. I saw that movie in the fucking 80s. I fucked Swoozie Kurtz in the ass.
That is a real story. There's something involved in that real story. Is Swoozie Kurtz in that movie? Maybe.
Oh, really? Oh,
I might have to check. That's a story. He did say something to that effect. Sorry. How are you going to deal with the TV series? Are you going to watch that whole goddamn TV series?
So I've already gone through the original audiobook once. I'm probably going to read this thing entirely and also go through the James Franco thing. I also am going to do an analysis on the film and the television show as well. So I'm going to try to work all of that in. It sounds like a lot because it is a lot.
It is a lot.
But with the help of our nice new sponsor, again, roll that promo. Let's give them another plug. Hey, Palmer here. Dave and I are so excited to be doing this Long Walk Short Drink book club reading of The Dead Zone by Stephen King. Materials for this project were provided by the site bookrags.com. With over 6,000 study guides available on their website, bookrags.com has everything you need to study and ace your lit classes. Enter the promo code PODCAST to get 15% off your subscription. Thanks so much to the great people over at bookrags.com for helping to make this book club possible. So keep listening and keep reading. Have a good one. We will facilitate with their help. We're going to get that all of that is going to assist me in making sure that I can facilitate a good conversation. So we'll still do Long Walk Short Drink episodes. We're not going to do it's not like for 5 episodes straight. We're just going to only talk Dead Zone. Basically, it's going to take the place of the King Corner. We'll still do the rest of our normal episodes, and then we'll devote a little bit of a discussion to the Dead Zone in lieu of a traditional King Corner. And that's about it. And then depending on how great this goes, I'm not even going to say anything less than great. Depending on how great this goes, I see plenty of book clubs in our future. I would love to do one on it, actually, because I think that would be just epic. So,
so we might not do it on every Stephen King book, because obviously I'm doing the chronology like a crazy person. So I got Firestarter next, but maybe we pick and choose the. Because what you're describing in terms of the time you put into facilitating this is pretty epic.
So, but I wanted to come off without a hitch, and if at the end, again, whenever you encounter this could be 6 months after it ends before somebody's listening to this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
At that point, then hopefully they pick up a copy of the Dead Zone themselves. They use, they go to Audible.
It's audibletrial.com/. LWSD.
There you go. You got it, buddy. All right. Awesome. So that's the upcoming book club. So listen for next episode, episode 22. At the end of that episode, I will officially kick it off with our first assignment where I'll give the page numbers. Hopefully I'll be able to break down and tell you exactly what minutes and stuff in the James Franco audio version too. So that way, that will help you. It's a little trickier because you'll have to hear them say the chapter numbers to know when to start and stop the book. So,
and I will be your, Palmer will be our guide. I will be your proxy. So yes. I will be the person. And so I want to make sure I have this correctly and stuff. Maybe you're going to hit me with these questions and I have to deal with them on the fly. That way,
we're just going to discuss each. So remember, we were going for the very generic. What are the explicit words on the page? So what's being written? What's the implicit? What did King mean with those words that are on the page? And then what's your reaction to that?
Yeah.
So we're going to use
will be the Ben Kenobi to my Luke Skywalker. So you will know and you will decide what I need to hear when. And I will be the sort of naive person just reacting to the like, oh, fuck, my family was just like burnt alive. So I guess I'll go join the rebellion.
Yep.
Well, but I will have
no more blue milk for me. I want is blue milk.
I just heard of this thing. I don't know if I can tweet it yet because I don't know where to make sure to find it. But there's an interesting thing about just the perspective from which you encounter narratives, where it's like the whole telling of the Star Wars universe could be very different. Like if you describe like young boy parent guardians are killed by like radical whatever, it's like he could be the way that this thing is set up. It's like Luke Skywalker
brainwashed
could be
and indoctrinated.
Yeah. Have you heard about this?
Yeah.
It's like he could be Al Qaeda or something. In any event, but we're not doing that. There's no jihads here. We're just gonna kind of talk about some books that people wrote in the 80s. But you can kind of. I can't say
with no hyperbole whatsoever, having gone through it already once, well twice because it was when it was originally listened to it too. It is going to be ridiculously relevant to what we are currently going through.
I'm excited. I mean, I should wait too for this assignment, right? Till next episode.
Yeah. Don't. Okay. Wait for me to.
That's all right. I'm trying to design my life.
You will be kind of on a time crunch because you'll get like a week, to read.
But I think that's probably reasonable within my drives and stuff.
Yeah, it's roughly 100 pages. 106 pages is roughly what each section is. So,
and we'll find out, and it'll be pretty relevant for our Audible listeners.
Yeah.
What the equivalent thereof is in the audiobook. Like I did start to read a few pages as I was laid up, but honestly, I don't remember any of them. So it'll be fresh. And I'll do my best to keep up and be honest when I'm a little behind, but I will play the, I'll be honest with what I do and don't know. I think that's very important. I think a lot of times like people pretend they know stuff And that's so not helpful. Just tell them. Just if you don't know, say you don't know. And if you don't know, fucking look it up on Google. If you learn anything from this show, you'll learn. Like, do you see him handle that butterfly knife?
Here, watch this. Watch.
Oh my God.
You ready?
Oh Jesus Christ.
That's close again.
Yeah. If my butt wasn't cut, there would definitely be blood flow to my dick right now.
Yeah. No.
That's pretty badass.
Oh, that's awesome. So yeah, learn how to do anything. We got a lot of great shit going on, man. Long Walk, Short Drink. We love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Dave, I love you, buddy.
I love you, sir. Thank you so much for what you've added to my life with this magical fucking thing.
Absolutely. Double D, thanks for joining us on the live broadcast.
Thank you for helping us on the Twitter. Palmer and I, if we chime in, we should sign our tweets, I guess, if it's you or I. Otherwise,
yes, that's probably
it's the mystical, magical.
Well,
non-monikered.
because that's not true too. I usually will say if I put my personal tweet handle in it, then that was probably me, but that's not accurate at all because other people can be tweeting and referencing me. So yeah, we should definitely though be signing if it's just us. And I think Double D will sign if it's coming from him, but also we also all three of us can be tweeting as the voice of Long Walk, Short Drink, which those would not have a signature.
Yeah, I would say no signature equals Double D at this point, because otherwise
I would say no signature
person.
Just represents
all of us,
the show. Like it's just coming from the show, you know.
I stand corrected. I like that. Now I am a little hard. He's like, no, I disagree, sir.
No, I just think like I like the idea of it just being like a representation of the show.
It's like a man who knows what he wants.
Oh shit! I gotta get out of here.
All right.
I'm gonna order a pizza. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm a fucking adult, and I'm ordering a pizza.
That is so mean.
I'm gonna get a giant. I'm gonna eat a big piece of cake and order a pizza. That's what I'm gonna
really?
do. Yeah.
Are you seriously really? What are you gonna get?
Yeah. Pepperoni, onion, extra cheese, probably.
Huh. All right, the onion makes me feel a little bit better, I guess.
You don't like,
from
you don't
where?
Like
well, I mean, not enough to add it. Where are you gonna get
Cousin
from?
Vinny's. It's this. It's like the cheap pizza place. That's
you blend. Yes, that kind of Cousin Vinny.
Yeah.
Oh, is it thin or thick?
That's what he said.
It's
right,
like that,
guys, because of gay.
It's like Giannino's kind of, that like thicker. It's like that middle crust.
You motherfucker with your May 4th plans and your pizza.
You were fucking texting me pictures of beer and food during Whole 30.
I'm very insensitive. I expect you to be better. Damn it. All right. All right. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah,
order
thanks for
yourself
joining
a
us, you
goddamn
guys.
pizza. You deserve it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Everybody gets a pizza but Dave.
Today, but in the future, that pizza will be mine. Make no mistake.
It'll be awesome, and I can't wait for you to have it, buddy.
Thank you. Good man. I don't care what your wife says. Okay.
That's my girl. Don't you touch her.
Oh, it's my day tonight, pal.
Oh! Hey-oh!
Hashtag butt stuff.
Hashtag butt stuff.